Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters that I love because of Allah. In Islamic teachings, there are 7 lucky groups on the Day of Judgment, which are mentioned in the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the hadith, it is explained that there are 7 groups of believers who are promised to receive Allah's shade and protection on the Day of Judgment. This shade was an extraordinary reward for them, considering that at that time there would be no shade except Allah's shade. These groups have special characteristics that make them worthy of this shade. Let's discuss these lucky groups of believers one by one. 1. A just and wise person. They are people who act fairly in leadership and society, prioritize the public interest, and carry out their leadership duties with high integrity. In the midst of corruption and abuse of power, fair leaders are rare and valuable. 2. Youth who grow in obedience to Allah. Young man who busies himself with worshipping Allah. This young man spends his time worshipping Allah, strengthening his spiritual ties, and devoting himself to practicing religious teachings. This young man's sincerity and perseverance in worship proves the sincerity of his faith. 3. A man whose heart is connected to the mosque. This man has a strong relationship with the mosque as a place of worship and a place to get closer to Allah. He attended the mosque not only to pray, but also to take part in religious activities and increase his understanding of his religion. 4. 2 people who love each other because of Allah. They have a strong relationship, their relationship is based on their love for Allah. Their meeting and relationship was established because of Allah, and when they had to separate, it was also because of Allah. Their love strengthens each other and is not shaken by world interests. 5. A man who is afraid to do something cruel. A man who faced immoral temptations from a rich and beautiful woman, but he persisted by saying, "I fear Allah." Firmness in faith and awareness of the consequences of immoral acts make him able to resist these temptations. He chose obedience to Allah even though he was faced with temporary worldly pleasures. 6. People who give alms. Next is the person who gives charity by hiding it, so that his left hand does not know what his right hand is giving to him. His humble nature and sincerity in giving charity makes his deeds purely for the sake of Allah. He does not seek praise or recognition from other people, but only hopes for Allah's reward and pleasure. 7. Someone who always remembers Allah. They are people who isolate themselves alone and dhikr to Allah until their eyes are wet from crying. The depth of his relationship with Allah made him pour out his heart in dhikr and ask for his forgiveness. Her sincere sadness and longing for Allah were reflected in the tears streaming down her face. These 7 groups of believers are role models for Muslims. They will receive Allah's shade and protection on the day of resurrection because of the sincerity of their faith and deeds. As Muslims, we are encouraged to follow in their footsteps, take lessons from the characteristics they show, and strive to become a group that receives Allah's protection in this world and the hereafter. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you want this message to reach more Muslims, please share. And if it's useful, leave a message, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.